Here are the 16 of the craziest UFC records of all time. The fastest UFC knockout took only 4.87 seconds for an out cold.
I saw some criticism. People say the punches weren't really necessary. Maybe
They were super necessary.
Catherine is a split decision.
27 for the winner by majority decision.
And the fighter with the most wins by split decision is Dominic Cruz.
Tough night for you tonight.
What was tough about it?
Walking away with the loss, of course.
Loss is part of life. If you don't have loss, you don't grow.
Who has won 5 matches by split decision. Just imagine the heartbeat he has to have in those situations. Bro, it's more harmful than the whole fighting. In this list, we'll mention one fighter who doesn't stress and uses every single second to avoid going to the decision. But like him, you have to wait a minute, because right now we have a sniper who doesn't miss. Max Holloway has landed a total of 3,122 significant strikes in UFC competition, which is the most in company history. And in total, he landed 3,366 strikes. A significant strike is defined as a strike that has a significant impact on the outcome of a fight. When Max throws a punch, it will be significant 92.75% of the time, which is just insane number. Just look at how far away he's from every other UFC fight. It tells the fighter in his favor. And as Rocky said,
but it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Those shots can easily eat Max Holloway, Jon Jones or Khabib. But the Iron Chin Award goes to Marvin Vettori, who took 241 shots, refused to be knocked down. Bad mother. Now it's time to mention a promised fighter who doesn't stress at all. The latest finish in a title bout goes to Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, who finished Kyoji Horiguchi with a finish time of 4 minutes 59 seconds in the 5th round.
He's the best. I'm telling you, that kid is the best.
Well, he couldn't wait longer. Fair to mention, at the time, Horiguchi was seen more as a prospect than a genuine contender, and was essentially given the title shot as a challenger of the month. If we talk about title shots, I've been following MMA for a couple of years now, but I will show you a footage that blew my mind. Before that, let's talk about the most important thing in MMA, and it's money, nothing else.
Gotta make money.
The biggest source of income for UFC is media rights and content feeds, which generated $871 million in revenue for the year of 2023. It means a simple thing. The more people watch, the more ads are viewed, and therefore more money is generated.
It's so fucking easy.
That's the simple equation which explains why Conor, Khabib, Jon Jones, or nowadays Sugar Sean or Colby Covington are favored by the UFC. Those guys make the highest pay-per-view buys. The record is held by Conor and Khabib. It's 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, not media rights or content fees, just pay-per-views. One pay-per-view costed at that time $65. So the math is pretty easy. Conor and Khabib made roughly $156 million on pay-per-view. Dana White loves them.
Conor McGregor is the perfect example.
If we talk about cash, but in a more selfish way, Charles Oliveira is the man.
Tell me the money, brother. Let's go.
He has the most bonuses awards in UFC history, with a total of 19. In of the night, free submission of the night, and roughly $50,000. Well, and Charles made only by bonuses almost $1 million. That guy loves extra cash. In a while, we will mention the fastest possible way to make money. And it's a record again, so don't worry. Now it's time to reveal a fighter who goes directly for the belt. It's Anderson Silva, who needed only 109 days to win the title after the debut. He holds the record for the shortest time to win a title after UFC debut. It was in his second UFC fight, pretty quickly. But he wasn't any quickie at all. He had the title until 2012. I've been into MMA for a few years, but this is the moment I just don't understand at all.
Bring the champ out here. I'm gonna make it official right now. The first ever UFC Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey. And I'm presenting her with her belt.
What the hell happened? She just received a belt just for walking on the stage. Can someone explain in the comments? We can say Jim Miller is the UFC veteran because he has fought over 40 matches in the top league. Between 2008 and 2023, he managed to fight in 33 fights. He witnessed UFC 100, UFC 200, and probably will 300 as well. Cool to mention, he won at both events. So if I were Bobby Green, I would be shaking my ass. It's not that hard to realize that Jim also holds the record for most wins in the UFC. 21 victories. Congratulations. In a while, we will uncover the unluckiest to ever step in the UFC octagon. A man with the most losses. The number will shock you.
Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er right here. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. Who the fuck is that guy?
Before that, the fighter with the longest break between fights is Royce Gracie. Fair to mention, it was the longest break in the whole MMA world. For those of you who don't know this absolute legend, Royce was the very first UFC champion, and I documented his whole journey in this beautiful video, so go check it out. Gracie's break lasted 8 years, 8 months and 17 days. By the way, Royce was almost 50 and finished his opponent in the first round by TKO. Started as legend and finished as legend. Now it's the perfect time to show the fastest way to make money, and exactly double money, for the fight and for the victory. Fastest submission in UFC history goes to the Russian bear Oleg Taktarov, who submitted Mad Dog at UFC 6 in 6 seconds. That's not a coincidence, don't you think?
It was lightning quick. A choke by Taktarov.
If we talk about submissions, we must mention an even more beautiful discipline: submission escapes. There is not any ranking nor record, but in my opinion, those guys are truly unique to escape from these situations. The first one is Alex Volkanovski, who refused to use oxygen for a good 20 seconds, then got on top and decided to break Brian Ortega. The second go for the time-honored phrase: I come here for everyone, kill everyone! Then there is Sergey Pavlovich, who has 15 wins in the first round. Well, that's remarkable. If we talk about Sergey and his KOs, there's another killer. And a killer is the best way to describe a 100% finish rate. This unique example of a finisher is Gerald Meerschaert, with 11 finishes in 11 fights. It looks like he doesn't know any other way to win. You know, when GM3 goes into the cage, he will do everything to secure victory by finishing in the most stylish way possible. It doesn't matter if it's TKO or submission, he's gifted with both. A while ago, we talked about Jim Miller and most wins in the UFC. Now, it's time for the other hand. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever thought Tony Ferguson is the biggest loser in the UFC, after his prime, in his prime he was invincible and arguably could finish Khabib, well, back to the topic, there's a guy named Jeremy Stephens with 18 losses in the UFC. I have some inner feeling that Dana kept him just to build records for his favorite fighter. Don't get me wrong, but 18 losses speak for itself. Currently, the whole fight world, including boxing, MMA or grappling, suffers from one specific problem. Fighters don't want to fight. We can mention John Jones, Conor, Dricus, Paul Costa, you name it. Luckily for all of us, there is Neil Magny, who completed 6 fights in 1 calendar year. We need more fighters like him, because exactly those fighters create records we all love and highly appreciate.